Got a new thing for you to try. This is a solo training technique where you're going to be able to go through your own joint locks and practice locking and escaping by yourself. It'll really help you with being able to put in repetition, be able to find specific points that you can practice with. And then after this, I'll also show you how these locks work. So this first one, we start with a C-clamp. C-clamp is simply your thumb and your middle finger. I'm going to slide down. I'm going to catch the fold of my wrist where the joint manipulates as a hinge here. If I try to get somebody here and I grab on, I don't know how big their arms are or how sway they are, he can very simply pull out, okay? If I come here, he can also turn his wrist to the fold where my fingers are and yank away as well, okay? But when I catch this and I slide down, I get the pocket right here, thumb and finger, middle finger, and he tries to yank away, it's much harder. Plus, I also have a natural wrist control right here. From this first point, we're going to bring the belly of the elbow underneath the wrist, okay? You'll see how this works. I'm going to turn the tonsao or tray position up. Now, if you look, you'll see as I'm doing this, the thumb goes to thumb. I'm coming in, you've got this first tray position. If he's holding this with a little bit of resistance, I want my elbow to drop below in the belly of the snake here, and then I turn simply the tray back towards him. I want my thumb going in against his hand here. From there, I'm going to angle it a bit. You can see then I move into Fuchsao position, in which the belly of the snake now goes in and it could push off and lock down. I then turn into the Fuchsao, and if I was to trap this hand, it becomes a very powerful break. So this is the first lock. It starts from the C-clamp. I tuck the elbow underneath my wrist. I turn the tray position over, so I'm mixing thumb to thumb right here. I'm bringing the belly of the snake out so that you can see that this is a Fuchsao position, and then I'm just going for the lock. That first one, C-clamp. Second one, I'm coming under, tonsao, Fuchsao, and if I was to trap that, break. I'll do this a couple of times. So belly of the snake, tonsao, Fuchsao, lock. Belly of the snake comes under, tonsao, Fuchsao, lock. Now, from here, as it's coming under, if I wanted to pivot and counter myself, my palm can pivot here and I could get a same side wrist lock. Same side wrist lock is simply me putting my thumb to the back of my baby finger knuckle right here, gain a grip around onto the meat of my hand. If you want extra leverage, use that baby finger to hook under. Roll under, trap, boom. Keep your elbow down. Here, Hyunsao, very nice. Okay, see how I'm doing this? Trap, wrist lock, okay? So from here, I then escape that, I extend my energy. So I'm gonna go under my own wrist to where I'm at wrist on wrist. Then the wrist that's on the bottom is gonna come back up and catch in a same side wrist lock. So this is part two. Roll under, trap, boom. Keep your elbow down. Here, Hyunsao, very nice. Okay, see how I'm doing this? Trap, wrist lock. I'm going under, extending the energy. Bottom wrist comes back up and traps. Now I can go under, okay, turn back up and go into the regular C-clamp. So if I'm starting from the C-clamp, and I'm doing part one and part two, I'm going first, belly under, tonsao, Fuchsao, trap. Tonsao, Fuchsao, trap. Okay? This time as I'm going under with the tonsao, I'm going to pivot and catch that same side wrist lock. Okay? I can be practicing on using these as stretching mechanisms and everything. As soon as I want to escape, it goes back under, wrist to wrist, back through, and there's your lock again. All right? Coming back under, wrist to wrist, coming under, you've got your lock going once again. Now, if I want to start from here and I want to continue from this, I'm going under, going with the tonsao, Fuchsao, and now as I start to push off, or what we call jutsao, as I'm pushing off, I'm going to roll into a bonsao position. So I've got this counter force. This is where you'll see in bonsao where people sweep down. So gain these positions. I can then bring that in to the chest, switch it to wrist lock, okay, which I can go with the wrist lock reversal, or I can come under the wrist lock, lock, And then I've got this Tan Sao, Fuk Sao, Jut Sao. There's my Jut Sao, Bon Sao push. And both are in the center line if you're looking here. Okay, coming back under, I can do the push. And I can get this nice shoulder work, counter resistance training. Okay, and you can start to play with this. Next one, I'm from here, I can slide under. So rather than pivoting under and being in the same side wrist lock, I'm sliding down the pivot. So my thumb is now on my index finger knuckle and I'm grabbing the outside meat of the hand. And I'm stretching it in this fashion. I'm rolling the palm over this way, okay? Now to escape this one, what I've got to do is bring the elbow over top with the belly here, turn into the Fuk Sao again, and then I can grab that same one. So it goes over, turn Fuk Sao, and trap again with the C-lock, okay? So now I can just start mixing these. Starting first from coming under, Tan Sao, Fuk Sao, lock. Tan Sao, Fuk Sao, lock. Tan Sao, Fuk Sao, add it, push away with a little Jut Sao, and stop it with your Bon Sao. I come under, I try to push off with a Jut Sao, I can stop it with the Bon Sao, all right? I come under, I lock, I take that pivot, and I lock the wrist. I roll the belly over, Fuk Sao, trap. As I come under, I pivot. I can take the wrist lock, okay? I can extend the energy, come under, take the wrist lock. All of this has great benefit for you, especially if you have carpal tunnel syndrome. So we're gonna start you off with those. Later on, we'll do additional locks. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you each lock of this series and how they are applied. Okay. So then we'll set it up with you and I.
Do you want to do some shots with me now?
Yeah.
Okay, with the action shots or B-rolls or whatever.
So pause. Now the next one that you saw was where I went from the wrist lock here, and I went in and I put my thumb on the back of their index finger, okay, and grabbed around the meat here. Now this one can be done to create these Z locks, okay, or if I'm grabbing it same side here, okay, and I switch it down, this going to his thumb here, his index finger here, around the other side of the meat of his hand. As I walk under on this, this gives me that wrist control right here, okay? So you're seeing that. As I'm coming under here, I can get this come along wrist control right here. Very nice. So you do see these locks that you're practicing right here can be pivoted into different moves that you could practice yourself. As I'm coming under, I can pivot to the same side wrist lock. I can go down to the C clamp, Tan Sao, Bon Sao. If he's reaching out at me, this is where that position that you see here of me doing the Bon Sao, I'm coming in, this is that position where I'm taking that trap. So if he's reaching up towards me, there's that Bon Sao strike, which turns into all of your stuff after. Let me know what you think. Please give us feedback. If you like this kind of solo training, it's flow training, that's what we're working for. So hit us up, let us know what you think.